Hey, good morning, Frank. How are you?
All
Hope
right.
all
Thank you, buddy. Thanks for taking the time to speak with me. I appreciate it.
awesome. So we're going to get right to it. I have a few questions for you, okay? So we're going to talk about Tranquilla, but I'm going to start off with the first question. What inspired you to launch Tranquilla?
No, thank you. Well, it's a simple question, and but there's a lot to it, and I'll do my best to be succinct. I've been in emerging tech my whole life, and you go back about 2 years or so ago, I became aware of things that we could do with technology that we could not have done before, and that would leverage what is called empathic AI to help people. Now, typically, when you think of high tech, you don't think of something warm, right? You almost think the opposite. But as I started to look into empathic AI, it became clear to me that there was some magic there that we could use beyond working with banks and insurance companies and all the things that I've done in the past in my career. That became clear to us that we could help people. And I like to say that whether you're into technology or not, you probably heard the term AI, and AI always had a brain, but now it has a heart. So now we have this thing that has a brain and a heart, and then we started looking into, okay, what do we do if we build something? What do we do with it? And lo and behold, there are a few veterans on our team, and they said, who better to support and attempt to help than veterans? So that became our first use case. I'm still a newcomer to the veteran scene. I'm not a veteran, um, and I'm new to the ecosystem. But I'm delighted to meet people like you, Harm, that are educating me and helping us get connected. But the more I meet with people like you, the more it validates in my mind that veterans deserve to be treated better. There has to be someone has to come up with a new idea to kind of improve support and response time. And I think here, the Tranquilla platform, I think we have that.
That's an awesome response. I like what you've been able to share there, and I think before I move on to the next question, it's
Mhm.
important that people understand where you're coming from, and even though we're doing this virtually, to understand what is Tranquilla and how you were inspired. And with that being said, I have the next question. Why are you going with the veteran support as your primary use with Tranquilla?
No, super. Well, um, listen, there are several roles we could play. We could help students, we could help parents, we could help educators, we could help employees, and all those are on the list. But first and foremost, um, this became clear as number one. I mean, it was just easy for us. And it's people like you, and others we meet through people like you that inspire us to say, this is, as someone mentioned a couple months back, this is the noblest of causes for us. So we're on board, man. What we want to do is um, save minds and save lives. That's it. That's our mission statement, and we believe we could do that. And as we progress in this discussion, I'm happy to tell you a little bit more about what we're doing and how. But the response from the marketplace has been very positive, so we think that we're on the right track.
That's awesome. I like that response. And you know what? It sounds more like being a public servant with Tranquilla. You have the founders, we have the stakeholders as well. And I think a lot of people need to understand that because people today, they're kind of lost in the sauce of what's going on, you know? And for us, we need to be able to share the mission statement, right? With that being said, where do you where do you specifically believe can help you can help with Tranquilla?
Yeah, yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. And okay, so if you're listening to this, so far, this probably sounds like some voodoo or something, because I haven't gotten into specifics. So I want to get into specifics. So one example, it's not the only one, but one example is if anyone here, whether you're a veteran or not, if you've ever picked up the phone and attempted to call your bank or insurance company or credit card, um, it's a bad scene, right? You're either put on hold, waiting on hold, and that gets everyone aggravated. And then they say, well, maybe you could speak to a chatbot, and the chatbots are horrible. Or then they try to push you to a website, and you go to a website, there's not, you don't know where you're going. They are left, right, or center. And then you could wait on hold for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes to speak to a person who doesn't know you, who's asking you you're there to ask questions. They're asking you questions. So you got to answer a bunch of questions before you get anything done. And you also know they're going to forward you to someone else anyway. So it's a bit torturous. So um, so as consumers, we deal with that on a weekly basis, and we're forced to tolerate it. Uh, I personally, as a consumer, don't think it should be tolerated even as a consumer. However, if a veteran makes a phone call or is attempting to contact a nonprofit or some governmental agency, to me, there's no justification of why that veteran should wait. That's plain and simple. Being put on hold is the ultimate disrespect. It's a disservice and it's inefficient. Now, I know why that is the case because all these call centers are based on a model that's 20, 30 years old. There's a bunch of people behind a desk and they're working hard. They're worn out, with all due respect to them. But no matter how many people you hire, 100, 500, 1,000, 3,000, no matter how many people you hire, there's always more people calling than people behind the desk. So there has to be a new idea. The new idea is what we've developed here. And I have a lot of experience, and my team does, in call centers, contact centers, and hotlines. And we've developed what we call a comfort agent. And I'm doing my best to avoid making this kind of a geeky tech conversation. But at the end of the day, what we've created is each veteran will be assigned a comfort agent. And that resides on their laptop, on their phone, on their iPad, whatever they have. So the first thing a veteran would do if they have a need is they're not going to a call center. They're interacting with a comfort agent, which we showed you not too long ago, right? A demo, Hiram, and we passed the Hiram test. You said this is pretty cool, right? But at the end of the day, think of the before photo is a veteran calling and just dealing with that uncertainty and additional stress of being put on hold and getting passed around like a bag of potato chips, right? The new scenario that we're enabling is one that you interact with the comfort agent that's been assigned to you. Let's say it's on your phone, you click instant on. There's no wait. There's no hold. It's instant on. It could be 2 p.m., 2 a.m., 40 languages, and you interact with what you want. You have a question about some benefits, and you're struggling with completing a form, which many people have, or navigating the labyrinth of different websites. Well, then that comfort agent could be your coach or your navigator through all that and help you get there. You're having a rough day, you just want someone to talk to, or you want to just have a friend or someone to listen. You want to tell some stories? We could do that as well. Let me switch to what we do not do. We are not a digital therapy. We are not professional clinicians. We close the gap of that buffer zone, Harm, between the veteran as making that call and the hardworking professionals that are miles away and maybe minutes or hours away, right, the whole time to close that buffer zone, if you will. And you mentioned something when the light bulb went off in your mind a couple of weeks back, but it really clicked on you with what we have here is you mentioned that we are kind of a new form of first responder, right? To your words. And by the way, no disrespect to the true first responders that are there. Um, but think of us almost as triage. Think of us as the receptionist in the building. Think of us as the guy, the coach, or buddy that's there day or night to interact with you, whereas you're getting the support needing, you're not judged, and it also has memory, so it remembers all the previous conversations. We pick up where we left off. That's kind of it. So I could ramble on a bit, but does that clarify or anything you want me to put a finer point on, Hiram?
Well, no, that's fine, but a lot of people need to understand that, right? You made a perfect, clear statement. It's a comfort agent, right? Comfort is just like having a pet, right? We all have pets, right? Most of us have had experience, and what pets do, they kind of de-escalate the situation, right? They're there, they give you unconditional love, they support you, and when you hold them, you feel that warmth. They start, you start de-escalating, then you focus on the pet. This is a great opportunity for this program to be able to share, as you stated, from 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 2 a.m. instantaneously where people are triggered because they're frustrated. The average veteran has more or less how you call it, about a 10-second retention span when it comes to dealing with stressors. They get triggered, they get more or less into tangents, they start speaking in acronyms, they get frustrated, and then pretty much it gets to an escalation of demanding stuff. And then they make bad business decisions based on emotion, and eventually some of them just check out because they're just totally frustrated with the system. As you stated with the call centers and the responses and everything in the language, this brings a new nuance for the veterans to understand the dynamics, and knowing that even this AI is culpable and is coachable to be able to mentor and de-escalate the situations for majority of the veterans. Some will, some won't, but the opportunity is to share that for the veterans to see that this is a great opportunity to share that as well. With my other question, how does Tranquilla help for the veterans there, Frank?
Yeah, super. Well, let me mention this just to provide some context. We are not currently available directly for veterans. Maybe at some time in the future. So I
Mhm.
just want to make this clear for those viewing this. Our focus is to work with the organizations that provide the support, whether it be nonprofits supporting veterans, government agencies, for profits, or even employers that have programs. I like to say we're designed to help the people who help the people. So I
Mhm.
say that just so people get a sense as to kind of our approach, which is also why we work, my team here works tirelessly to get the word out and to structure relationships with these organizations. Because the sooner we get to more, the more veterans we can help. There are, hundreds, if not thousands out there already who know of us and are waiting for us to get plugged in to some organization so they could tap into the benefits. But just stepping back, big picture, um, uh, there's really two roles. Well, let me put it. There's three roles that we most commonly play. I'll break it down to what we call the three C's: comfort, coach, and concierge. Comfort is based on many meetings and discussions with veterans over the past year and a half, where, as we touched on before, a veteran is looking just for a buddy, looking for a sounding board, wants to vent, wants to tell a story, uh, and whatever it could be. It could be something related to a family member, could be traffic, something could have just sparked or triggered something. And the last thing they want to do is wait on hold 40 minutes or wait 2 weeks for a meeting just to get some relief. That's going
Mhm.
to take you in the wrong direction. Now, I'm not saying that ultimately you don't want to be in front of a professional. We want that to happen. But just again, think of us as that gap closer, that buffer zone. So from the standpoint of comfort, instant on, no hold, no getting passed around. We're there. We could be that buddy, that listener, that storyteller. From the standpoint of concierge, more often than not, vets will come to us to say, "Hey, could you help me navigate the benefits?" I mentioned before, benefits programs. It's a very archaic process doing anything with really any government is just complicated, right? There's wacky, archaic forms, multiple websites. You get mixed messages. So what does that do? That creates more frustration, more stress. Again, it's taking the very in the opposite direction of what these programs are intended to do. So think if you had at that point concierge mode, you had your own advisor and you say, "Hey, here's what I'm looking to do. Help me out." Okay. And that conversationally or text wise, that confrontation is going to help you get to where you want to go. And then you disconnect, you reconnect 2 days later, they're going to remember where you left off. Okay. Did you get the forms? Did you remember to put your address on it? Oh, that's right. It's like having somebody help you. I remember when I was a young guy applying for colleges, it was a very intimidating scenario, but I had somebody to help me and my family who'd been through it before. I was the oldest in my family, so I was the first. And, it was very intimidating. But to have somebody there to comfort you and get you through it, who knows the answers, is magic. To this day, I remember who helped me back then. So that's the coach. I'm sorry, that's the concierge. The last C is coach. So there are many veterans that have approached us to say, hey, uh, I'm back on the scene. I want to get back in the workforce. Could you help give me some guidance? I want to get a job. What do you want to do? I'm not sure. Well, tell me what you have done, right? We got to connect the dots between your experience and those acronyms that you referred to before, and play the role of either a career coach or resume builder,
Mhm.
or let's connect you with some job openings, right? So we didn't dream any of these up. This is what veterans and veteran organizations have come to us and have said, hey, can you build these features into
Mhm.
Tranquilla? And it's not one thing, guys. This is what they're telling us. Depending on what the veteran needs at what stage of their life, is the role we can play. So those are kind of the three C's: comfort, coach, concierge. How does that resonate with you, Harm? Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, and pretty much it's a virtual customer service concierge, more or less. You can't go wrong because the comfort agent it shows empathy, but it understands that it's designed to de-escalate the situation, so that veterans and people overall can start thinking clearly. Because at the minute of rage or they're upset, they start getting into tangents. They repeat themselves. There's a lot of rhetoric. They start going around, but they're not going directly to what it is. So they can't formulate their words and they can't be able to process what they're saying because they're so frustrated. Back to your point, it's important that you've gotten a lot of history or intake from other veterans that share their experience that can be combined to that. So when a veteran that is new to this or someone else is new, they can more or less go and boom, the comfort agent, they can explain the story. They can, explain themselves. It's just like a therapist, right? I'll use this. When you see a psychologist or psychology or psychiatrist, you have an hour to be able to have privacy, to be able to share your own prior thoughts, right? Now, mind you, as you stated before, this is not for clinicals. It's more or less to meet the medium gap so that way that veteran can explain himself. He or she can explain themselves down the road when they can go to a professional and say, I had a comfort agent. I was all over the place, but at the end of the day, I need XYZ because I'm feeling XYZ. So this is important for all of us to understand the dynamics on that, because then we can actually, what Tranquilla can do is speak the love language for the veterans, right? They can be able to say, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? If they go back and they log off, oh, I forgot to say something. Well, you came back. Did you do this? Did you do that?
Right on.
So
Right
that
on.
way they don't miss a beat and they hold themselves accountable without being told because the reminder is there from Tranquilla. So that way that individual can take accountability for his or her actions and make themselves set up for success and use other resources to get to where they need to be versus, as you stated back in the day, call centers, 40-minute, 30-minute hold. Oh, I can't get you an appointment for next 2 weeks. Well, this is time of essence, and this is time that you can't get back. This is what a lot of people understand. When you have Tranquilla, this is time that you're invested because you're not getting that time back, but that time is being held because when you get back to Tranquilla, it picks up where you left off and you don't lose with that. My last question with this is this. How can viewers help you on the mission to support veterans with
Well,
Tranquilla?
thank you. Thank you. Well, I would say this. We are aggressively looking to connect with more organizations that are in place to support veterans, um, and or government agencies. So if you are one and if you work for one or you lead one, um, and you're curious and you like to learn more about us, you want to see a demo or learn more how we fit in and how we can help, please, let us know. Or if they know you and they want to know a little bit more about who's this guy, Frank Casal, they can contact you or contact us directly. The other thing is, if you are a veteran just liking what you hear and it sounds interesting and you'd like to learn more about how this may help you, I am investigating now. We're exploring creating kind of a little bit of a kind of a pilot network for veterans individually to be able to sample and use and give us feedback. We from day one, we've had an open dialogue with veterans. Tell us what you need, tell us what you want, tell us how we could make your life better, how we could de-stress things. So either way, I would say just don't be shy, contact us and let us know. And the last thing I want to say, and I want to be uh, respectful of your time, Hiram. Thank you for your service, and thank you for what you do day in and day out. You're continuing to look out for your brothers and sisters out there. So it's guys like you that motivate our team, brother. So we appreciate that, and thank you for giving us and certainly giving me here an opportunity to tell our story, what we're doing.
Well, thank you, Frank. And what I like about Tranquilla is this, right? Had I had Tranquilla over 35 years ago, I wouldn't be floundering or looking for guidance. And it's like this. I'm pretty much, for myself as a veteran, an advocate for veterans and veterans' rights, to be able to share my misfortunes, because I can tell you right now, the challenges back in the 90s were totally different than it is today. Social media wasn't prevalent. AI wasn't prevalent. This kind of networking with platforms is not prevalent. But this gives an opportunity for other veterans to, instantaneously see what they can do at a moment's notice, right? And I really appreciate the fact, and I think the biggest thing that the veteran community needs to understand, what they're lacking in, is personal growth. Personal development and business development is two different things. But what Tranquilla can do is set you up for success for personal growth, because as you're voicing your concerns, you're learning more about yourself without being criticized. And Tranquilla can more or less mentor you with the point of knowing where things are at, right? And understanding that, hey, you have a business plan. We're setting you up for success. You stay at XYZ. We want you to be able to be at a point in your life to get there. Now, with other government agencies and nonprofit organizations and things like that, this is a staple, because in today's society, as you know, we come back from an age where, hey, HR, people sit down, they talk to you. We don't have that right now. This is where the go-between with Tranquilla brings to the forefront. It allows people to be able to foster relationships and enhance themselves and personally develop themselves. And they could say, I feel relieved because I was able to explain myself, or verbally, explain everything in the last 15, 20 minutes, because they're withholding that energy. They've been so frustrated. So I appreciate the opportunity, Frank, and thank you very much.
No, thank you, my friend. And I hope to see you again soon. Thank you so much.